Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda. I'm Madhavdas G. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the 25th of June has been a blot on Indian democracy since 1975. This was a day when former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi imposed a state of emergency across the country for 19 months. A dark phase when the vibrant democracy was not only stifled but murdered. Today, the centre took the constitution fight to the next level, announcing that June 25th every year will be marked as Samvidhan Hatya Diwas, a direct and big strike on the Congress. Notifying the decision, Amit Shah asserted that the former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, in a brazen display of a dictatorial mindset, strangled the soul of Bharat's democracy. Prime Minister Modi said that observing June 25th as Samvidhan Hatya Diwas will remind citizens of what happened when the constitution was trampled upon. The move comes precisely 16 days after Lok Sabha Speaker read out a resolution in Parliament blaming the Congress for suppressing the rights of people and attacking principles of democracy. Now, this decision has ruffled the feathers of the opposition. Leading the charge against the centre, the Congress has called the June 25th move as another headline-grabbing exercise. It's alleged that the country's been in an undeclared emergency since the NDA government came into power in 2014. Listen in to the war of words before we jump into the debate.
गणतंत्र को, डेमोक्रेसी को हत्या करने की खून से लाल हुआ है। इस देश की जनता इसको भूलना नहीं चाहिए। कांग्रेस पार्टी कितने बड़ा गुनाह किया है, देश की भविष्य की पीढ़ी उसको ना भूले, इसीलिए संविधान हत्या दिवस मनाया जाएगा।
आप लोगों ने तो खुद ही संविधान को तहस-नहस करके रख दिया। आपने तो ईडी, आईटी, सीबीआई के माध्यम से संविधान के पन्नों को तार-तार कर दिया। मैं तो आपसे आग्रह करूंगा, शहीद दिवस 30 जनवरी हमारे बापू की हत्या हुई थी, उसको कहिए गांधी हत्या दिवस, स्वीकार करिए। कर पाएंगे?
25 जून रात को 1975 में जब हमारे संविधान की हत्या की गई थी, वो कभी भी हम नहीं भूल सकते हैं। हमको एक एग्जाम्पल सेट करना है कि भविष्य में कांग्रेस पार्टी ने जैसे संविधान की हत्या की, ऐसा कभी दोबारा ना हो।
तो सरकार चाहती है कि इन मुद्दों से लोगों का ध्यान हटे, इसलिए हेडलाइन मैनेजमेंट के लिए ये नोटिफिकेशन किया है। और जयराम रमेश जी ने बहुत अच्छी बात कही कि 4 जून को देश ने मोदी मुक्ति दिवस का नोटिफिकेशन कर दिया है, इसलिए परेशान होकर के ये सरकार इस तरह की नोटिफिकेशन कर रही है।
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Let's take this across to our guest now. Joining us with us is Tom Vadakan, national spokesperson of the BJP. Ishkaran Bandari, advocate of the Supreme Court, is joining us. Also with us is Satyaprakash Mishra, leader of the JDU. Joining us also is Sanjay Jha, author. Rashid Kidwai is a senior journalist. We also have Sameer Singh, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Kishore Tiwari is spokesperson of the Shiv Sena UBT. Let me start with you first and foremost, Sanjay Jha. Is there something wrong with the phraseology of Samvidhan Hatya Diwas? Is Samvidhan or the emergency not something that, we all know, and even several top leaders admittedly have said that it was a mistake? What's wrong with such an observation, would you say?
Well, Madhav, the truth is that Rahul Gandhi and the India Alliance is setting the agenda going forward. During this election, one of the reasons why the BJP has been humbled in Uttar Pradesh and in several parts of the country is because the people of India completely believed and are convinced that had the BJP got the numbers they were talking about, they ended up getting 160 seats less than what they expected, the 400. It is because they all knew that they would amend and probably even destroy the Indian constitution. Here is the truth. Let's take a couple of examples, Mother. You have an unofficial emergency for the 120 months. Stealthy, slimy, surreptitious. Give credit to Mrs. Gandhi. Her emergency lasted 21 months. We have gone 6 times over already. The second point, and this is critical, they have converted everything in this country, all the democratic institutions, into a mammoth choke. ED, CBI, income tax. Do you remember, Madhav, when they amended the UAPA Act in 2019, making it deliberately so draconian that instead of groups, even individuals could be arrested under UAPA. You know how many cases have been registered under UAPA? 10,552. How many convictions? 2.3%. ED conviction rate below 2%, and you know how they have harassed opposition. Arvind Kejriwal in jail, Hemant Soren in jail, and you know, this is brutal. You know, the washing machine, the whole culture of electoral bonds, where the government became the mafia. The government was into criminal extortion. The government became literally like an agency, which is reminiscent of, you know, the big US mafia groups that put a gun on the head and said, pay me the money now, or else a bullet in your head. So, you know, you're witnessing in India a death of democracy. And since you are part of the media...
All right, that's fine. Rahul Gandhi has every right to say that. But the point is that it's in the same vein. If he says that constitution has been threatened, rightly or wrongly, perhaps somewhere you may have a point that Rahul Gandhi has been campaigning on this issue. But the point is this, that then to the same yardstick should it not be maintained? Why not accept what the government is also saying? Because certainly emergency was a time when the constitution was undermined in multiple ways, Sanjay Jha.
Madhav, I don't think anybody, even from the Congress, has tried to rationalize the emergency. By the way, let me tell you, since we are...
No, Congress is opposed to this move of the government. Have you seen the tweet of Jairam Ramesh?
No. I'm talking about the emergency of 1975.
Yes, the same emergency. When we talk about,
who endorsed it?
Let me just read out. Are you aware what the Congress party has said officially on this?
You're not aware of what I'm saying. I'm saying 1975 emergency was endorsed by the RSS. The gurus of the BJP, the RSS endorsed the emergency. So look at the hypocrisy of the BJP. It's all in the documents. The ex-IB chief, Mr. Rajeshwar, has put it on record in his book that the RSS endorsed the emergency.
I want Ishkaran to come in on that. Ishkaran, the RSS endorsed the emergency. Nobody in the Congress is endorsing it, but the RSS has. Please respond to that.
It's on record.
Madhav, how do you know a congressman is speaking? Because everything is given credit to Mrs. Gandhi. Even today on your debate we heard, give credit to Mrs. Gandhi for emergency. It lasted only 21 months. So we are living in a make-believe world. But let us come to the constitution and how is constitution under danger. I want to tell you, we are talking about people being jailed. Do you know what was the Congress stand on people being killed? The Attorney General in the Supreme Court, when the question was on liberty, people being put into jail, Justice Khanna, the sole dissenting judge, asked a question. Article 21 has liberty as well as life. You are arguing on liberty. What if somebody is illegally killed? What would be your position? And he answered, even if somebody is illegally killed, court will have no jurisdiction. A further question was asked, what if a policeman shoots somebody with his own personal vendetta? He said, the Attorney General does not speak alone. He speaks on the behalf of the government as briefed by the government. He went ahead to say it may shock the conscience of the court, but the court will have no jurisdiction, the court will have no recourse, the court will be out of it, there will be no remedy. This was in effect what was said as has been reported of that time. So we are talking about a government which was willing to say even if you are killed you will not have recourse. And now constitution under threat. We daily talk about basic structure. What is basic structure, Madhav? That constitution beyond a point cannot be amended. Against whom did the Supreme Court have to evolve the doctrine of basic structure? BJP was not even a party formed at that time. Congress used to daily abuse the constitution, treat it as a waste paper the way they would exercise power. That is why Supreme Court had to come in and say, basic structure, Congress cannot amend constitution beyond this point. Please read the entire jurisprudence of basic structure. It was not against BJP. BJP wasn't even formed at that time. And now the same thing is going on. In emergency, powers were taken away from everybody. We have had multiple state elections which BJP has lost and has won. We have had courts giving bail in appropriate cases. A Kejriwal gets bail, a Manish Sisodia does not get bail. Same scam, deputy CM, depends on facts of the cases and how the court sees the evidence. We have a Sanjay Raut getting bail. We have Mr. Malik getting interim bail. Because it is on fact and case by case basis.
Okay.
And the biggest test of democracy and emergency, Sanjay Jha or anybody else can daily on your channel attack the government, in fact at times abuse the government in the strongest language without anybody jailing them. They may not be important enough to jail, or nobody wants to jail them, or the reality is There is no emergency. That is why anybody can speak anything, including on national TV. And I'm not even talking about what all is spoken about on social media, including against women ministers. So let us please be very realistic. The only time Constitution has been in threat was when Congress was in power.
Okay, many hands going up, but I want Kishore Tiwari to respond to that. Kishore Tiwari, the only time that democracy has been in threat, the Constitution has been in threat, is when the Congress was in power, and particularly in the emergency, and that's why this is a very significant move, and Ishkaran has cited several examples to back up that claim. Please respond to him.
No, emergency was imposed in June 1997, and we were detained.
97?
It was really
97?
95.
75, sir. You've got your years, decades, everything wrong. What is this, Mr. Tiwari? You have come so unprepared for a debate like this, a serious debate like emergency.
Emergency.
This is not a multiple choice question, sir. At least get your dates right.
Madhavdas, do not get advantage of it. I am talking about the emergency imposed by Honorable Prime Minister that time, Indira Gandhi. And BJP was very much humiliated this time because they wanted up ki bar, 400 bar, and Samvidhan. It was a narrative said by the people itself that BJP wants to amend the Samvidhan to bring a Manuspurti and the abolish the reservation. So as far as my party is concerned, we oppose every type of emergency and undemocratic, patriotic behavior of the present government and the past also. So we are not confused at all. But BJP should start living in present. There are agrarian crisis, there are unemployment, then inflation and everything is there. So Madhav, instead of focusing on the core issues before the nation, they are just going in 1975 and backward also in 64 also sometimes Prime Minister goes. At present, Indian masses are not interested. They are interested that...
Let me bring in Tom Vadakan. Tom Vadakan, you're trying to divert from the core issues of the day. This is something that several, political reactions that have been coming in from opposition also have been cited, that you're not talking about NEET, you're not talking about Agniveer, which are the burning issues of the day. Of course, price rise, inflation, etc. Unemployment is something that was referred to by the previous spokesperson, but it's some kind of a diversionary tactic. Please respond to that, Tom Vadakan.
June 25th, 1975 is the blackest day in the history of the Constitution of India. Let that be clear. How many times was 356, the president's rule that came in from the Nehru-Gandhi family? 134 times. Elected governments were thrown out. These are the protectors of the Constitution. How many times has the Constitution by the Nehru-Gandhi family been amended? 58 times. And the question here at large is, who are the protectors of the Constitution? A young LOP stands up in Parliament and swears by the Constitution, and some of them say, Jai Samvidhan. This is only a mirror that we are showing to them on the reality of what the Constitution is and what they did during the dark period of emergency. I am a witness to it. School children, even college students were picked up across the states and put in prison for sloganeering. There was a situation after the Allahabad verdict. Mrs. Gandhi lost her balance and literally wanted to have a total dictatorship, which the Congress has repented on. Their leaders have said, yes, it was a mistake. But here I see representatives who are close to the India Alliance and close to the Congress coming out in defense. We never defended the emergency. I was part of the Congress, but our brief was never to defend the emergency. And I'm surprised today to see a whole lot of people coming out here and saying, well, emergency is one of the issues. One saying it's part of history, but history will repeat itself if Congress comes to power. That's what we are awakening the entire country about. This is the day that you need to remember, and generations must remember. It's not something you can write in your NCERT book and delete it. This is part of the dark period of Indian Constitution that has been damaged and torn apart.
Okay. Let me bring in Rashid Kidwai, because Rashid Kidwai, of course, Tom Vadakan, during his days in the Congress, he says, and of course you would have known him well during those days as well, says that we were instructed never to defend the emergency. What's happening today is a break from that tradition or that thought in any case. Your response to this, Rashid Kidwai?
Yeah, so Madhav, I think the entire ambit of emergency, or its misuse, is being highly politicized. See, the emergency has is a provision in Indian Constitution. It is intact. Nobody has tried to change it. Regimes have come and gone. From Article 352 to Article 360, the emergency provisions are very much there. So emergency provisions are a protective ring. So no political party, including the BJP, is talking about removing those emergency clauses from the Constitution. Now comes the issue of misuse. Yes, Tom is right, and so are the other panelists, that emergency provisions were highly misused. It was a dark chapter, but also a chapter on which Mrs. Indira Gandhi, not only she apologized, she was punished by people of India, she was out of power. Then, of course, she staged a comeback. That's a different story. The fact of the matter is that the BJP has developed the ability of coining, these days. Madhav, you would recall 2 years ago, the BJP said that, we'll observe a day. I mean, and it's not only BJP, it's Government of India. They said that, they'll observe this day, 14th of August, as a partition horror day. Now, there was no follow-up. So if the idea is to familiarize younger generation with all those sort of, monumental and a very painful chapters of history, the government or, the political apparatus should talk about it. It should not be just to create a division within the India alliance. What is the purpose of having this Samvidhan Hatya Diwas? It is to, make position of Samajwadi Party, RJD, and several left parties, many other political parties who are opposed to the BJP, opposed to the emergency, to make them look vulnerable, make them look as if, they're supporting. But Maharashtra elections are going on, Madhav. Let me just conclude. And, in Maharashtra, if the BJP has any political, wisdom, they would not have done it, because Balasaheb Thackeray, he defended emergency. So if you're talking about Thackeray legacy, it's going to undermine Mr. Shinde, Chief Minister's position. Would he speak against Balasaheb? So therefore, I think
Kishore Tiwari should respond to that. Kishore Tiwari, if Balasaheb Thackeray defended the emergency, then what is the position that is being taken over here by the Shiv Sena UBT? Are you going to change your position now?
No. Our Uddhav Thackeray has clarified any style of functioning which is against the Indian democracy, we are against to it. The Indira Gandhi also introduced the emergency. Even Balasaheb Thackeray was with Indira Gandhi, but later on he changed his stand and he was not with the Indira Gandhi. Even Indira Gandhi regretted the past. And it is the past why BJP is wandering around that. That is sad part of history.
Let me bring in the Samajwadi Party spokesperson on that note. Samir Singh, Mulayam Singh Yadav is somebody who fought in the emergency. He was jailed for, I think, about 19 months, if I'm not mistaken, in the Etawah jail. For the Samajwadi Party, when, these kind of episodes come up, and you've always, of course, opposed the emergency, how do you justify the stand that is being taken by the Congress today, which is hitting out on the front foot at the government for announcing the Samvidhan Hatya Diwas? In fact, Jairam Ramesh says that it should be Modi Mukti Diwas on the 4th of June. This kind of front foot attack on an issue on which Congress has traditionally been very, very careful, and parties like yours are an ally. Can you forget what was done to your own party chief, Mulayam Singh Yadav? Can that be washed away so easily?
Madhav, I think I'm happy today to see that how the tables have turned. We're not fighting the same BJP that we were fighting, in the past 10 years. And this exercise which the BJP is doing since the election results have come up is a clear indication to that and is a stamp to what we have already stood for. Nobody is justifying the emergency. The emergency was a black phase, and the Samajwadi Party and all its leaders condemn the emergency. But then, if you're condemning that emergency, we're also condemning the undeclared emergency that this country has been in for the past 10 years. Also, if the Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center wants to, commemorate this day or mark the 25th of June, 25th of June as a Samvidhan Hatya Diwas, then I believe 17th September, the day when the farm bills were passed, that should also be marked as a Samvidhan Hatya Diwas. 700 farmers lost their lives because of this futile exercise of the government, because of this unconstitutional, undemocratic step by the BJP at that time. While we're at that, we should also observe May 3rd as Samvidhan Hatya Diwas, because this is the day when the Manipur violence, the ethnic cleansing Manipur violence began. It's been more than a year and nothing's been done on that front. The Prime Minister, who's been on a globe-trotting exercise, does not have time to go and meet the people of Manipur to see the condition,
okay.
The condition of the state, because it is
why not the days when Manipur violence started, the farm bills were passed, they should be Samvidhan Hatya Diwas. And in fact, there's a whole list of divases that have come in as reactions, which various opposition leaders are seeking. You have Akhilesh Yadav who says also observe Bapu Hatya Diwas and Loktantra Hatya Diwas. And I earlier mentioned what Jairam Ramesh has said, that there should be Modi Mukti Diwas, so on and so forth, due to the moral defeat, quote unquote, of the existing powers that be. Your response to that, Satyaprakash Mishra?
Let us start with Bapu Hatya Diwas. Definitely the nation observe the martyr day of Bapu on 30th January every year. And all the political dignitaries do visit the Rajghat to offer Shraddhanjali to Bapu. Now coming to Manipur and Kisan and other example you just quoted, these were not instigated by the government of India. That happened, and government of India always was in touch with and in communication with, in dialogue with these people. Government of India wanted to create normalcy in every kind of situation, and they brought back the bill and asked for forgiveness. None other than the Prime Minister appealed to the farmers that I, on behalf of my government, ask for forgiveness. Regarding Manipur, still there is a dialogue going on. The peace agreement has been accorded, signed between the two parties, and it was happened due to some observation of the Manipur High Court, not by the government of India. Now coming to the point of emergency, why it is a black dot and black day of Indian democracy, 25th June 1975. On 12th June 1975, Indira Gandhi lost a case in Allahabad High Court which labelled a allegation against of her by the Raj Narayanan, and everything was found that she misused the power and the government machinery to win the election. Even the Supreme Court upheld that verdict on the 24th June 1975, on the midnight of 25th 1975, on the whims and fancy, on the basis of her own fancy and whims, she proclaimed emergency. Why? There was no internal or external security threat. Article 352 is there in the Constitution. While there is an internal or external threat, a government can proclaim emergency. But there was no such situation. And what happened on that midnight? Every house, every media house was shut down and power was cut. The first stand taken by the government. And all political parties, president and main functionary were got arrested on the same midnight. And Vajpayee ji was house arrest because he was ill that point of time. Rajnath Singh, the current defense minister, was not allowed to attend the last ritis of his mother. Such kind of pathetic situation. So it is called the black dot on Indian democracy, and Congress is shying away from that. And why, RJD and Samajwadi Party are shying away from celebrating the Samvidhan Hatya Diwas? Why? Because now the hands are in glove with Congress. They are siding with Congress, the same party which never criticized emergency. On the record, I am saying Congress never criticized emergency, never asked for forgiveness from the nation. What happened in the information minister of that Indira Gandhi government, Indra Kumar Gujral, was asked by the Sanjay Gandhi to follow the orders of Sanjay Gandhi, who the Sanjay Gandhi was in the government, and he had to resign. Better he resigned that point of time, not bowed down before Mrs. Gandhi.
No, but everything that you say is true, but there are at least 2 or 3 occasions where Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi and Manmohan Singh have regretted the emergency.
Give me 30 seconds.
No, Mr. Mishra, you said that Congress has never regretted it. I think that is factually wrong because there are public statements of all these 3 leaders of the Congress, at least, and even Pranab Mukherjee for that matter.
They tactically said something. I am coming to a point that a famous case, ADM Jabalpur versus Srikant Shukla. In that case, Supreme Court what pronounced? That it is not able to protect the fundamental right, the right to life, Article 21. Only Justice H.R. Khanna wrote a dissent, letter Supreme Court corrected this judgment in the Menka Gandhi versus Union of India. But why this is so that fundamental right was in question? It was not protected by the...
Here's the question to you, Sanjay Jha. That's a very, very long statement you made, Mr. Satyaprakash Mishra, but let me bring in Sanjay Jha on 2 or 3 points. Sanjay Jha, there were forced arrests of political leaders, there were house arrests, there were sterilizations, there was suspension of civil liberties, fundamental rights of citizens were suspended, and at the same time, there were constitutional amendments that actually took away even basic aspects such as judicial review, ordinances, etc. This was a mass and the biggest, perhaps, misuse of the Constitution that was given even some amount of legal sanctity, and you cannot compare it with what's happening today. That's the argument coming in from Satyaprakash Mishra. Please respond to him.
Yeah, I will take 1/4 the long time his monologue took, and I will puncture all the garbage in that conversation. Point number 1, this government passed the very draconian criminal amendment laws, and 146 MPs of the opposition were at that point suspended. And then they passed laws. We all know how the farm laws were passed. Number 2, this government went to the Supreme Court and said, the people of India don't have a right to their own bodies. When it was a discussion on the right to privacy, they said the people of India, you don't have a right to your own body. This is the draconian, authoritarian, repressive government that you have. Point number 3. I think one of the Modi toadies mentioned on your program.
That's not an acceptable adjective. They will start calling you all sorts of Congress adjectives and you will not like it, Sanjay Jha. I do not want... let's keep this debate clean. I do not appreciate anyone casting aspersions or using adjectives against fellow panelists. Let's not do that, Sanjay Jha. You've done it in the past and I'm warning you, do not do this again, otherwise you can leave this debate.
Okay, point number 3. Sanjay Raut case. The court said that the ED arrest of Sanjay Raut was illegal. You think that is democracy? Point number 4. In the electoral bond case, this government goes and tells the Supreme Court that the individuals of India don't have a right to know who funds political parties. I mean, this is literally like saying a green pass to corruption. Point number 5, I agree. June 25th was a dark day, but the last 10 years have been a dark decade, and that is a loss of 365 into 10 days, which is like 3,650 days. And I think while we are celebrating all these Diwas, let's celebrate the washing machine Diwas for the way they arrested Arvind Kejriwal and Hemant Soren. Let us also celebrate a Paltu Ram Diwas for the way Operation Lotus has worked.
On a lighter note, if we celebrate all the Divases that have been suggested, we'll all be down to a 4-day working week in this country, the way it's going. But, that's just on a lighter note. But Ishkaran, please respond to the points being made that the positions that have been taken by the government really point out to the fact. And even today, for instance, opposition has been citing what the Supreme Court has said in the case of Arvind Kejriwal as some kind of a vindication of this washing machine charge.
Madhav, some of the analogies made are so silly that it can only be made by a congressman, even though suspended. So let us deal with it. If police does arrest in one illegal case,
no personal comments either way. Let's keep it civil.
Forget past.
Ask him to apologize.
Okay, let's keep it civil. Let's keep it civil. Let's keep it civil.
I said analogy is silly. That's hardly anything.
The goose is sauce for the gander.
Yes. So I've told him exactly that. No personal adjectives, please. Let's not attack each other on the panel. Just as I've told Sanjay Jha, Ishkaran, the same rule applies to you. Yes.
All I have said is Madhav, but to say somebody's analogy is not correct is not something personal to him. But anyways, so let us deal with this. Forget the past. Even today, Congress governments have sent police forces across states to arrest people for statements on social media, which the courts have stayed. Is that fascism? Is that Nazism? Is that emergency? Come on, you have to have some rational standard. We are talking about an emergency in which people en masse were being jailed. We were talking about an emergency in which people were being sterilized. We are talking where the government is saying you don't have a right to life. And will anybody talk about what Congress state governments are doing to people on social media? But you will not have that debate. But even on Arvind Kejriwal case, please understand there are two parts to the Supreme Court order today. One of the parts is also that you will not go to the Chief Minister's office. You will not go to the Delhi Secretariat. That means the court is finding that right now you should not discharge the duties of a Chief Minister. But that will be swept under the carpet. Anyways, the test of emergency is, can you approach court? Can you get relief? Can you be on TV? Can you be on social media attacking the government day in, day out? On all these parameters, courts are giving relief regularly in fit cases. Courts are in fact sometimes giving extraordinary relief also, evolving jurisprudence to give relief. Every day on social media, the government is attacked, including female ministers are attacked in language or ex-ministers attacked in language, which is really unpardonable. You are having on your debate so many people, you can count 2 or 3 people attacking the government in the strongest term. If this is the emergency, then it's the worst form of emergency known to mankind in the history of world.
Okay. Would you like to respond to that, Sameer Singh? Because, the very fact that people are free to express their opinion, there's no question of any emergency. And this is certainly not like what happened post-1975. I think that's the analogy that Ishkaran is trying to draw. Please respond.
Madhav, that's the point of view of the BJP, that everything is absolutely perfect in this country, that the people are flourishing, everything is good, the economy, we are becoming the greatest power of this world. But on the ground, nothing is true. You see where the country is going. You see how we are performing in terms of the foreign exchange. You see where the unemployment rate is going. You see how for 25 people, thousands of youngsters queue in Gujarat, and there are mishappenings that are going on. And the problem with the BJP is, I think the BJP has no moral ground to call for a Samvidhan Hatya Diwas, because that is what they've been doing for the past 10 years. And the Samajwadi Party and all our ally members or allies of the India government, India bloc, are constantly reiterating the same facts and telling to the people how the BJP is acting unconstitutional. And now, when I say that I'm amused and I'm happy to see how the tables have turned, I'm actually happy because these general elections, the 2024 general elections, have paved a way for the India bloc and have shown the BJP that you need to work your things straight. You need to change your narratives. And that is why the BJP is after the opposition. The BJP is desperately trying to weave a new narrative that the Congress is unconstitutional and the opposition is somehow in cahoots with the Congress, which is absolutely false, because the people of this country have understood what has been going on in the country for the past 10 years. And when the BJP leaders come on stage and come on TV and say that 400 par karna hai, and why do they want 400 seats? Because they want to amend the constitution. These are the things, one of the major reasons why the people of India have voted in the manner in which they have voted.
Okay.
And this is the reason the BJP has not just lost its charm, but it's also lost its plot, and that is very good for us.
Tom Varakan. I want Tom Varakan to come in on this. BJP has lost its plot, it's lost its charm. The results have shown that the numbers are coming down and that the campaign of opposition has been successful. Respond to that, Tom Varakan.
Well, it's interesting to hear this from the India Alliance. The reality is their leaders were in jail, and the Supreme Court had stepped in to tell the government of the day that you cannot, I repeat, you cannot change the basic structure of the Constitution. The other issue that I want to point out is the litmus test of this government is last 10 years, we had the numbers. We did not text the constitution like they did. And how many times? 58 times. So now it's before the people of India to decide who is the protector of the constitution. And their great leader who stands up with the constitution in hand, but the same hands tore the ordinance by his own government. And if this is protection of the constitution, tell me what is not.
All right, let me bring in Rashid Kidwai on that point. Not just, of course, tearing of the amendment, etc., the law, etc., but Rashid Kidwai, the constitution was amended 25 times between 1966 and 77. During the last decade, only 8 amendments have taken place. This is a statistic that has been cited repeatedly by the BJP to show how much tampering took place with the constitution as far as the previous regime is concerned, particularly in the post-emergency era. How do you look at it?
I'm glad Madhav you raised this point. It's very important. The BJP is making it look as if amending constitution was something wrong. Constitution was meant to be amended because there were the exigencies, political, legal, social, moral, all kind of things. So most of the time when a constitution has been amended, it has been for the good of the people of India. It's the parliament's prerogative and it is a very done thing. There is nothing wrong in it. It is just when the constitutional amendments are there that they do something wrong that we need to raise a flag. Now, if the BJP is so much upset, Madhav, about that 42nd amendment...
and 42nd amendment, you would agree, that was seen as an excess, is it not?
If they're so upset and exercise about the inclusion of secularism, socialism, etc., why is BJP, not only now, of the past, had made no attempts to amend it?
No, but removing the... and in fact, it was amended post-77, if I'm not mistaken, Ishkaran. What is so objectionable? You want to quickly comment on that?
Yeah. Just a short point. No, I'm happy Mr. Kidwai is making the point that Constitution is a document which is to be amended. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar meant it to be amended. But the problem we are facing right now is that there is a propaganda running on what the amendment will be. Whereas the reality is the only time Constitution was amended out of shape was during emergency. And I will just add one word. When socialist and secular have been raised, do you know who? Dr. B.R. Ambedkar specifically rejected these two words in the Constitution. They were raised in the drafting committee. He rejected, saying doing this will be destroying the Constitution. I will not add these words. Professor K.T. Shah or somebody raised it. So
well, some very interesting points as far as the Constitution, as far as emergency that have come up in today's debate. We'll have to draw to a close now. Tom Varakan, Ishkaran Bhandari, Satyaprakash Mishra, Sanjay Jha, Rashid Kidwai, Samir Singh and Kishore Tiwari. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us this evening.